Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Have you ever learned something new, only to find that it completely scrambled your memory of what you learned before? Like when you get a new phone number and suddenly you cannot remember your old one. This is a classic battle in our brains between old information and new updates. For a long time, scientists thought this was just a simple competition where the new stuff wins and the old stuff gets erased. But a fascinating new study suggests the process is much more of a team effort than we ever imagined. This sounds like a contradiction, right? How can new information both ruin and help our memory? The key is whether we notice the change. Think of it like this. If you are learning a sequence of facts, like an address or a list of tasks, your brain essentially has two choices. It can either shove the new info over the top of the old info, which leads to memory loss. Or it can pull the old file drawer open to compare the new data against the old data. When you compare them, you create an integrated map of how things have changed. That process is where the magic happens. To test this, the researchers had groups of people participate in a continuous game of pairs. Imagine being shown a word and a matching response, like ocean and spray. Then later you see ocean again, but this time paired with salty. This is the A to B, A to C jump. Some people were asked to actively signal when the response changed. By asking them to notice the shift, the researchers forced the participants to retrieve the first memory to confirm the change. Basically, they were forcing the brain to acknowledge that the old info and the new info are related. The results were eye-opening. When people actually detected and remembered the change, they did not just get confused. Instead, they actually remembered the first piece of information better than people who were just guessing or not paying close attention. It turns out that when we actively connect the dots across our experiences, we build a stronger, more organized mental structure. It is not just about the strength of one memory. It is about how those memories are linked to each other like a chain. This chain makes them both easier to recover later. This really challenges the old idea that new memories have to kill off the old ones. Instead, the study suggests that if you can bridge the gap between what you knew yesterday and what you are learning today, you preserve both. It is a powerful reminder that our memory is not like a computer hard drive that just overwrites old files. It is more like a living library. When you add a new book to the shelf, you have the option to cross-reference it with the ones already there. However, science is never fully settled. One of the big takeaways here is that identifying how we best remember things is tricky. The researchers found that sometimes the timing of these events, called the lag, produces weird patterns that are hard to predict, especially as the delay between learning and testing gets longer. Sometimes an intermediate lag, not too short and not too long, seems to be the sweet spot for these memory boosts. Yet, they found that these patterns can change depending on how we are tested. So what does this mean for you, the student, the worker, or just someone trying to remember where they parked the car? First, be active in your learning. If you are updating an old procedure at work or trying to keep track of changing details, do not just passively absorb the new info. Ask yourself, how does this update the old version? What specifically has changed? By taking that extra split second to look back and compare, you are training your brain to build a more robust integrated memory. You are creating a signpost that links the past to the present. I think the most exciting part of this research is how it treats our awareness as a tool. We are not just victims of forgetting. We can be active architects of our own memory if we know how to use those updates wisely. Of course, future researchers need to figure out exactly how long these optimal windows last, and if we can use this in real-world settings like school classrooms. Maybe we can help kids learn better by teaching them to focus on the change rather than just the new facts. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of memory, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the science of the mind. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever used a trick to keep your memory organized when things keep changing? I would love to hear your experiences. Thanks for joining me here at RUBIN'S Mind Lab, and I will see you in the next one.